SEZ unit, SEZ zone and units, how the developers have to create buildings, create the infrastructure, all that is there in the act and rules. Single window clearance mechanism at zone level. So there is an approval which is single window mechanism. So you don't have to keep submitting various forms, all of that. It's clear, one single window. You just submit your forms and will be approved. Establishment of an authority for each special zone economy set up by the central government to impart greater administrative autonomy. Now we will see who is an authority. We will also see what are the duties and functions of an authority. But as per the features of the act, they also they also mention that how to create an authority, how an establishment of an authority, and what is their administrative requirement. All that is covered in the particular act. Designation of special courts and single enforcement agency to ensure speedy trials and investigation of notified offences committed in SEZ. So, in case if there is something that you've not followed any rule, or if you have any offence that has been done, there are special courts which has been set up, and there are enforcement agency to ensure the speedy trial, that any investigation, any seize, if you want to seize any item, so all that, in case if somebody is doing an illegal activity, all that will be covered by this enforcement agency in the country. Now, there is a process that has been mentioned in the textbook on how to establish an SEZ unit. That's what I have put in the on the slide. So I'm just going to read it and then I will explain it to you. Section 3 of the Act provides, so when we look at wherever they mentioned sections, it is nothing but the SEZ Act 2005. So as per that Act, these are the sections which has come in the textbook. Section 3 of the Act provides that the central government, state government, or any other person jointly, severally may establish a SEZ, special economic zone. Any person who intends to set up a special economic zone may, after identifying the area, make a proposal to the state government concerned for the purpose of setting up of a special economic zone. Now, what happens is, when there is any agency, any person, state government, central government, anybody, whether one person is doing it, whether jointly they're doing it, anybody, whoever decides that they want to make a particular area. Now if they want to make say an electronic city, okay, for an example, say ITPL. Now if they want to make ITPL and special economic zone, they will identify that, they will make an application to the state government saying that they want to make and this area as SEZ unit, and they will also tell the purpose of setting up. Now, you all might wonder as in why it is area wise. Now, if you look at ITPL, so in ITPL, a particular a set of companies, a set of area will be identified as an SEZ unit, and companies that have taken up an office there will all be SEZ setups. So, in a big area, in ITPL, a small section will be a SEZ unit. Now, it also allows a person at his option to make a proposal directly to the board for the purpose of setting up of SEZ. In cases where such proposal has been received directly from a person, the board may grant approval, and after receipt of such approval, the person concerned required to obtain concurrence of the state government within prescribed time. So we will also see who the board is. So you can also make the proposal directly to the board, and once the board grants permission, you can apply, you can give the consent to the state governments. In case the state government wants to make an area as a SEZ, they will have to forward the proposal directly to the board of approval. So we will also see who this board is. So if a state government wants to make a particular area, they will directly submit it to the board saying, I want to make this particular area as a SEZ unit. Central government has been empowered to set up and notify the SEZ units without consulting of the state government concerned, without referring the proposal to the board. So, if a central government wants to identify and mention a particular zone as an SEZ zone, they do not have to take approval of the state government. They can directly they do not have to take state government, but they'll have to forward the proposal to the board of approval for setting up of the SEZ zone. The state government may, on receipt of the proposal for setting up of the SEZ, forward the proposal together with its recommendation to the board of approval within the specific time. So, whenever the state government gets all the proposals, say if I am applying for an SEZ unit, I will submit my proposal. Within a specified time, state government will have to submit that. They'll have to review it. They'll have to evaluate it and forward the proposal to the board of approval. The board once the proposal has come to the board of approval, they will check. They will either approve the proposal or they will reject the proposal, and they will also if they kind of want to modify the proposal's terms and conditions, they will tell them to get this particular part modified. That is also possible, but if they approve, they will also be giving a particular set of terms and conditions that the SEZ developer will have to follow. The central government has been empowered to specify the minimum area of land for setting up of SEZ unit and other terms and conditions subject to which the board may approve. Again, central government also has a right to tell that this particular area cannot be given for SEZ, that particular area should be given to SEZ. They can also specify the minimum area requirement. If the board approves a proposal without any modification, it shall communicate the same to the central government. If it approves the proposal with modification, it shall communicate the same to the person or the state government concerned if the modifications are accepted by the person or the state government. So basically, if the proposal has any changes for the terms and conditions, they will basically communicate it to the person who's making the proposal, saying that these are the modifications. And if they reject the proposal, they will give reasons why the proposal has been rejected. Now, central government to grant on receipt of communication from the board of approval a letter of approval. Central government to grant the receipt of communication from the board of approval a letter of approval on such terms and conditions and obligations as approved by the board of directors to the person. However, the central government may, on basic approvals of the board, approve more than one developer in one SEZ in cases which one developer does not have his possession the minimum area of contiguous land as may be prescribed for setting up of SEZ zone. In all such cases, each developer is considered as a developer. Now, what happens is land, whenever they are looking at SEZ land, it will be a huge area. Now, if a particular developer, say ITPL or say Bagmani Tech Park, now Bagmani Tech Park is nothing but is constructed by the developer Bagmani. So if he doesn't have the particular area requirement, multiple developers can join together and create a SEZ zone. Now, what happens once the board of approval gives the communication saying the proposal has been accepted and these are the terms and conditions, final terms and conditions, the central government will communicate the same to the developer saying that and whoever the person has made an pre-made an proposal to them saying that this particular area, this particular minimum requirements is being considered for the SEZ unit. Now, any person or state government who intends to provide any infrastructure facilities in the identified area or undertaken any authorized operations may, after entering into an agreement with the developer, make a proposal for the same with the board of approval for its approval. Now, we will see what is infrastructure facilities, but infrastructure basic things are, say, your canteens or your buildings, your any infrastructural developments that's required to carry on an SEZ zone. So it can be roads, it can be lighting, all of that is required to set up an SEZ unit. So those are secondary. Building construction, all that is required. So whatever whoever wants to create the roads in the SEZ unit, they will have to make a proposal again to the board of approval and get its approval. Every such person, state government, whose proposal has been approved by the board or which has been granted letter of approval central government shall be considered as co-developer of SEZ. Now, whoever is making the proposal, if they get the approval by the board, all of them will be considered as a co-developer of the SEZ unit. Now, this is the entire process of how to set up of a SEZ zone. Anybody's got any doubts?
So, ma'am, developers are owner of land in the case?
It need not be directly owner of land. They would have purchased it from somebody, or the land might be lying there. It might be the state government land, it might be central government land. Central government might be giving the land for creating of an SEZ unit. So it can be a mix of both.
So this land can be on rent basis also?
No, it will be mainly on lease. It would have been purchased by the central government, purchased by the state government, because see, agricultural land is not allowed. Your regular residential land cannot be SEZ units. So these are huge land that the state government or the central government will give.
Just like industrial area given.
Yes.
In every city.
Correct. Yes. Anybody else has got any doubt? What we saw that infrastructural facilities also, the person should make a proposal to the board of approval. Now, what are these infrastructural facilities? Means industrial, commercial, or social infrastructure, or in other facilities necessary for the development of SEZ, or such facilities as may be prescribed. So basically, your buildings, your road, your lighting. What else can come under infrastructure? What do you all think will come under infrastructure? I've told you all roads, I've told you all lighting. What else?
Bridges.
Bridges?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, if it requires to pass a river or something, bridges also, yes. What else do you all think?
Road, water, then
water, yes.
Management also.
What management?
Waste management.
Yes. Waste management is also part of infrastructure.
Electricity, ma'am. Communication thing, like
yes, communication. Yes, electricity, communication. See, if you need a first aid required in the SEZ unit, they have a first aid unit as well.
So healthcare
also will be there. So all these are infrastructure facilities.
So police station, bank.
Police station no. Banks, we will see what type of banks are allowed, but police station no. Police station will be outside. Okay. Next is establishment, approval, and authorization to operate a special economic zone. Now, the developer will have to submit after the grant of letter of approval the exact particulars. So basically, we are in the step where the developer has already got the approval letter from the central government. What next? The exact particulars of the identified area they will have to submit the exact particulars that has been identified to the central government. After which, satisfying that the specified requirements are fulfilled, notify the specific identified area in the state as economic zone. So basically, the developer will submit the exact particulars of what area, and what are the requirements, what is how many land area, how much is this unit, that unit, all that. They'll give specifications, where are the lighting points. Every plan will be submitted to the central government, and central government, if they feel fine, they will specify that identified area as a special economic zone. Now, central government, they have power to notify any additional area as part of SEZ. Now, if they feel that a particular area has to be expanded and the next land also has to be considered as an SEZ unit, that time they will also notify that this you can take this particular area also as a SEZ unit. So they have that power. Central government to authorize developer to undertake such operations in the SEZ as may be prescribed. So after getting the entire approval, they will authorize the developer to start the operation work in the SEZ unit. Okay, so basically, what are the requirements? What does the central government or the board of approval see when they are making a special economic zone? Generation of additional economic activity. So basically, you're making a particular area for a particular economic activity. So they will look at whether economic activity can be done from that particular area. Promotion of exports of goods and services, whether exports of goods and services can happen from there, and they will encourage that. Promotion of investment from domestic and foreign sources. If you're getting they have certain benefits, so it will attract domestic and foreign sourcing. Creation of employment opportunities. If an SEZ unit um, is being done in a very isolated area and say in a corner of Whitefield. So before ITPL was like a corner of Whitefield, now it's like in the middle of Whitefield. So if that, then it will create employment opportunities also. Development of infrastructural facilities. Again, infrastructural facilities, people will get jobs, power, lighting, all that will be developed in that particular area. So because if you are having say, for example, if ITPL, I mean, at one point of time, next to ITPL, there were nothing. There was only there was only the ITPL office, and around that there was nothing. But because of ITPL had come around it, hospitals came. There were a lot of malls. So it encourages other infrastructural facilities also around it. Maintenance of sovereignty and integrity of India, the security of the state-friendly relations with foreign states. So basically, as we saw that a particular and other small say vehicle parts manufacturers, you'll find everybody who's set up their factory in that particular area. They have kind of made a special zone which is covered for a lot of factories, and all of them have got factories. So if you look at that area, everywhere you will find a particular unit for you will find a corporate office, you will find a manufacturing unit, you will find a warehousing unit, you will find a packaging and dispatching unit, and you will find a canteen. Every unit is separate. We will see why it is separate, but it is a requirement of an SEZ unit. If you're setting up in an SEZ unit, you need to create separate processing and non-processing areas. So if you look at the slide, processing areas for setting up of unit activities is separate. So you have a particular manufacturing unit. So one particular unit will be manufacturing, one particular will be warehousing, trading, all of that will happen from one place. And non-processing units like your corporate office, your canteen, your packaging, all of that will be in a separate unit. So if you are having a manufacturing unit in an SEZ unit, you need to construct 4-5 requirements based on your business. So that is how a processing and non-processing area will work. Okay, any doubt so far? Anybody? Anybody's got any doubt?
No, ma'am.
No.
Okay, let's move ahead. Now, if you look at the benefits that an SEZ unit gets, if you are an SEZ, it exempts all goods or services. Now, why they call services is like your data consultancy services. Now, that's a services company. They do not manufacturing anything. So, services also can be in an SEZ unit. All goods or services exported out or imported into or procured from domestic tariff area by a unit or developer in an SEZ, they are exempted from paying tax, duties, or sets under all enactments specified in the first schedule. Now, this will cover all your local, all your GST or your customs, all of that, mainly customs, because there are a lot of exports and imports that keep happening between units and a foreign country. So, any say, even if you are procuring any item from a domestic tariff area, means a regular area out of the SEZ unit, you will still have to pay certain taxes. Now, all that has been set completely. You do not have to pay. If you're doing in an SEZ unit, you do not have to pay any taxes, duties, or cess. Now, coming to the board of approval. Now, we've heard about the board of approval. They have a lot of authority. So, the board of approval, who creates the board of approval? It's by the central government. It's a composition of the board. 1 second. Just 1 minute. Okay, before we go to the board of approval, what is imports and exports as per y'all? Before going to the board of directors, we'll see that. But what is imports? What is imports? What is exports?
Imports buying from other countries.
Imports is buying from another country. Yes.
Exports from our country to some other country.
Yes. Exports is you're sending your goods from your country to another country. So imports and exports, there are definitions in your textbook. So read those definitions. What is import? What is export? That is required. Now, again, services is nothing but, as I explained, services also trade in services that you give to another country. So services also can be imported, services also can be exported. Now, constitution of the board of approval, the central government will, with a notification, will establish a board of approval. Now, the composition of the board, the terms of office, the who are the members, the meetings, quorum, all of that will be decided by the central government. Now, they've not given anything in your textbook, so don't go ahead and search for what is the term and all that. It is all set up, decided by the central government. Now, so there are powers and functions of the board of approval. So they have certain powers and functions. Now, we have seen what they are authorized to do, but we will just go through these board powers and functions. Granting of approval or rejecting a proposal or modifying. So basically, they can approve any proposal, they can reject any proposal, or they can modify any proposal. Granting approval of authorized operations to be carried out in the SEZ units by the developers. So once the particular, say in ITPL, say I'm just giving an example, say Intel decides to carry out operations, they will grant approval to Intel to authorize such operations in the SEZ zone. Granting of approvals to the developers or units for foreign collaborations and foreign direct investment. So now, for its development, operation, and maintenance. Now, say you join with a foreign company to make roads. You want to make the best roads for your SEZ unit. The developer joins hands with a foreign developer to create roads. Is that possible? Yes, it is possible. So that approval also board of approval will give. Granting of approval or rejecting providing infrastructural facilities. Now, creating electricity, water, making pipes, all that is infrastructural facility. Now, whoever is making that proposal, they have a right to reject it. Granting a license to an industrial undertaking referred to 3 of if such undertaking is established as a whole or part proposed to be established in an SEC. Now, whoever needs an approval to if they need a license to open their company in an SEZ zone, they will also grant the license. Suspension of the letter of approval granted to the developer and appointment of an administrator. We will see who an administrator is, but if they need to suspend any letter of approval, they have the authority. Disposing of appeals. Now, again, appeals, if somebody has any issue and they want to appeal, they can dispose of their requirements also. Performing any other function as may be assigned by the central government. Since this particular thing is they are the board is created by the central government, any other function that the central government says, they have authority to perform such functions. Anybody has got any doubts? No, ma'am. So when you all are writing the powers and functions, you don't have to by heart the entire line. You can remember and you can write it out point by point, saying that granting of approval, rejecting, modifying any proposals for establishing. I mean, if it's a bigger line, then you can cut short it and write whatever you all remember. You all don't have to remember the entire whole box of this. Now, what is a letter? What is a suspension of letter of approval and transfer of SEZs in certain cases? Now, the board has the authority to suspend the letter of approval granted to the developer for a period not exceeding 1 year. So basically, you can suspend. So, what is suspension? What is the suspension? Simple terminology. What is suspension in general language?
Rejecting.
Rejecting, no, this is suspending. You're suspending somebody. So when you tell you're suspending somebody, that means what?
You're not allowed to work for a specific period for
Yes.
some reason.
Yes.
Observation.
So for a specific period, for some months, you are not allowed to carry on. If it's, say, if I'm suspended from office work, I shouldn't go for those particular months that I have been suspended. So basically, the suspension of, yes, Manu, you were saying something? You were saying
Observation.
Observation. What type of observation?
Keeping aside, like just
So basically, if once you suspend a person, you will also keep a check on that particular person. Whether if there is, I'll give you an example. If there's a posh case in the company, and if you're the main culprit in the posh case, that time what happens is you are suspended for 3 months. And in those 3 months, they will do an investigation to see whether you're guilty or not. If you found not guilty, they will bring you back. You after 3 months, they will allow you to come back to the company. If you find guilty, they will terminate you. Something like that. So that is a suspension. Now, the board also has got an authority to suspend any letter of approval that they granted for a period not exceeding 1 year. So the limit is 1 year, and appoint an administrator to discharge the functions of the developer. Now, till 1 year, they can be suspended. Now, what happens if a developer is suspended? Now, if a developer is suspended, who will carry on activities in the SEZ unit? So, it is none other than an administrator. So, an administrator is appointed to carry on these particular functions of the developer. Now, whenever you suspend anything, the notice, not less than 3 months, notice should be given in writing on why you have been suspended. Okay, so the thing is, less than 3 months you have to give. Now, why do you think, why do you think the developer can be suspended? If you see the first one, the developer is unable to discharge the functions to perform the duties. So if he's not capable to, or he cannot discharge the functions that he's supposed to do, then they will suspend. The developer has persistently defaulted in complying with the directions of the board. So the board has given certain terms and conditions. If the developer has not followed those terms and conditions, and even after multiple reminding, he has always defaulted it, then they will suspend you. The financial position of the developer is such that he is unable fully and efficiently discharge of duties and obligations imposed on him by the letter of letter of approval. So basically, if the developer, even after giving the letter of approval, say he's got some money, so basically it's mostly on financial. So if he's not able to get loans to create an SEZ unit, he's not able to get the particular financial help, required financial help, then he can also be suspended. Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, so now there is a development commissioner also who has been appointed by the central government. Now, the central government to appoint the development commissioner for one or more special economic zones and such officers or other employees as it consider necessary to assist every development commission. So basically, a development commission is appointed for every SEZ unit. Now, say there are two SEZ units which is close to each other, say in a 1 kilometer radius or a 2 kilometer radius. That time they will appoint one officer for two SEZ units. If it's close by, they will appoint one officer for two SEZ units. And in case if they require any other help, any other employee's help, they will also be appointed to assist the development commissioner. Now, what does the development commissioner do? They guide the entrepreneurs for setting up of units in the SEZ. Now, if I want to go and set up my manufacturing unit in an SEZ, in my manufacturing factory in an SEZ unit, if I want any guidance, they will guide me on how I need to set up. Now, I told you all manufacturing unit is separate, warehousing unit is separate, processing unit is separate, all these three separate, say corporate office is separate. So all of that they will guide and tell you how you need to set up your manufacturing factory. Now, they will ensure and take suitable steps for effective promotion of exports from SEZ. Now, there will be a lot of exports that are happening from an SEZ unit. So they will efficiently, help the units to export from the SEZ units. And they will encourage them to export their units. Ensure proper coordination with the central government or the state government concerned or agency with respect to above purposes. Now, if you need any approvals for any setting up of units or any exporting, if you need a particular license, then the particular development officer will also help you to get those license, those approvals. Say you need an approval for buying the land. then they will help you. If you need approval for getting electricity connection into your factory, getting water connection into your factory, they will help you to get all that. Monitor the performance of the developer and units in SEZ. So they not only help, they also keep a check. So there'll be one person who will sit in the SEZ unit and they will keep a check on the developer and the units in the SEZ, whether they are not getting, say, if you're getting any if the entry and exit of goods have been properly mentioned, if illegally you're not sending out goods to another area or your company or another unit, all that they keep a check on the how the activities also are being happening. Discharge of other function as may be assigned to him by the central government. So any other function as per the central government they will do, and also they will be delegated from they'll be delegated special functions by the board of approval also. So these are the functions of a development commissioner. Anybody's got any doubts?
Ma'am, delegated means what, ma'am?
Delegated, so the board of approval will delegate certain rights, certain powers, saying that you can approve this particular, say, if a developer wants any approval for 1 second, please. Okay, so if the developer kind of delegate is, say, if board of approval has got certain functions to approve, say, if you need to construct roads, then infrastructural facility, you will have to go to the board of approval with the proposal. Now, the initial infrastructure road has already been approved by the board of directors. Say if you want to build a connection road, or say you want to there are some holes, there are some pits that have come in the roads and you need to do some patchwork. So then the board of approval will tell, for all such activities you do not have to come back to me, you can get an approval from the development commissioner. So if the development commissioner gives an approval, then you can go ahead and you do that linkage road, or if there is any holes, you can particular you can get the particular vendor and you can make that road proper. So basically it's nothing but whatever big approvals that the board of approval will give, they delegate certain minor requirements, whatever is required in an SEZ unit, they will delegate the work. So they will tell them, you don't have to come to me again, you can do it yourself, as in the development commissioner has got the authority what the board of approval has got.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, let's move ahead. Now, committee for every special economic zone is called an approval committee. So every what do you call, every SEZ will have a committee which is called an approval committee. Now all this, whatever is there in your slides, will be there in your textbook as well, because if you look at the textbook, everything will start with section 14, section 13, section 12, like that. They'll mention it. So the entire chapter in this is only as per what is there in the act. So I can't make anything or explain anything over and above what's there in the act. So that's why whatever you will see in the slides, it's same thing is there in the textbook. So what powers does this approval committee have? Now but one more thing, remember, you do not have to remember the sections, because if you mix up any sections, then you will mix up your entire answer. They will deduct marks. So if you say, if they ask you what is the powers and functions of approval committee, if you remember the section, write it. Otherwise, do not write the sections, just write the powers and functions. Don't try to attempt writing the section if you do not know. It is not compulsory to write the section, especially for our subject. But if it is for Companies Act or say tax, if it's required, then you have to remember it. But for our particular chapter, not required. You can skip remembering the sections. Now, what are the powers and functions of the approval committee? They approve import and procurement of goods from the domestic tariff area for carrying on authorized operations by a developer in the special economic zone. Now, the approval committee will approve any import and procurement of goods from the domestic tariff area. So, from a regular area, if you're getting in goods into the SEZ unit, they will approve it. They will check it and they will approve the procurement of goods. Approve providing of services by a service provider from outside India or from the domestic tariff area for carrying out authorized operations by the developer in the SEZ unit. Now, if say somebody healthcare facility, now if you need an hospital to be set up, you will get a service provider. Say you will get an Apollo or a Manipal to set up a unit there. So they will also approve that particular type of services. Monitor the utilization of goods or services or warehousing or trading in special economic zones. Now, what how the goods are entering the warehouse, how the goods are getting export, whether they are packed properly. They will keep monitoring and they will keep checking on all such activities. Approve, modify, reject proposals for setting up units for manufacturing or rendering of services or warehousing or trading in SEZ in accordance with the provisions of section 15. So they also have certain powers to apply, approve, modify, and reject proposals. Allow on receipt of approval foreign collaborations and foreign direct investment, including investments by a person outside India for setting up of units. So they also have the authority to approve foreign collaborations and FDI. Monitor and supervise compliance and conditions subject to the letter of authority if granted to the developer or entrepreneur. So basically, they will check whatever terms and conditions if they are being followed. Perform any other functions as may be entrusted by the central government or the state government. So again, whatever other functions they have, they will have to follow it. Okay, any doubt before we go ahead with the next topic?
No, ma'am.
Okay. One second. Just 1 minute. Okay. What do you all think is an offshore banking unit? Now, what is an offshore banking unit? Offshore banking unit. What is an offshore banking unit?
Bank branch in sales.
Yes. So it is a particular branch. Yes. Okay, someone was saying something. Okay. An offshore banking unit means a bank of a branch located in a special economic zone and which has obtained permission under clause A subsection 1 section 23 of the banking regulations 1949. Now do not go and look at what the regulations say, but just remember it's a branch of a bank located in an SEZ unit. That's called an offshore banking unit. Now, so that means you can have a bank in an SEC. Now, you can also have an International Financial Services Center also in an SEC. So again, what is that? It's an International Financial Services Center which has been approved by the central government. Now, central government to prescribe a single application form for obtaining any license, permission or registration of approval by a developer or an entrepreneur under one or more central acts. So now what happens is if you need a particular license or say a license for getting electricity, a license for getting water, so it has to be you have to take it from multiple portions. Now you can't go to everybody. So central government has given one application form where you can get all the licenses, all the permissions from everybody. Okay. Now, agency to inspect. Central government to specify by notification any officer agency for carrying out surveys, inspections, for securing the compliance with the provisions of the any central government act or by a developer. Now, what do you think is this agency to inspect? That means what does what the agency will do? Why do they need to inspect? Can somebody tell me why do they need to inspect? They say carrying out surveys, inspections. Why is it required?
To check the records.
To check the records, yes. Anything else?
How they are managing.
How they're managing. So is it unit by unit or they'll do it as a whole?
Unit by unit they will do now.
Unit by unit, and they will also do it as a whole. Anybody's got any other point? Any other point?
If any member or the person has complained to the member for any need to do inspection.
Correct. So that time also an inspection can take place. So basically, they will inspect and they will see whether you are carrying out all. So they will do it on a regular basis. They will have inspections. They will come and they'll observe your manufacturing unit. They will come. They'll observe your factory to see whether you're taking care of how water has been disposed of, whether you've got a recycling process, whether you've got an rainwater harvesting process. All that they will check. So they will come and they will inspect. So I'm not sure if you all have Factories Act. I think has been removed from your textbooks. But a Factories Act, in that they will tell that you need to have a creche, you need to have a particular canteen facility. So all that they will come, they will slowly inspect whether you are following this as per the Factories Act. Are you following that, or as per the SEZ rules act, whether you are following all of that? They will come and slowly they will check, and they will submit the verification report to the central government. Now, why do you think there is an investigation, inspection, search, or seizure that has been done? Why is it required? Why is an investigation, inspection, search required, or even an seizure?
For factories not making any fraud thing.
For factories making any fraud thing, yes. When we talk about seizing any object, what does that mean? Seizing
Illegal activities.
Illegal activities, yes, but what can you seize?
Crossing the limit.
Okay, crossing the limits. Anyone else? Anybody else has got any other opinion on investigation, inspection, search, or seizing?
If this harmful to society.
If they are producing or they are disposing of water into rivers, all of that, then they will kind of inspect and search. Okay, so the central government will appoint an agency or an officer to carry out the investigation, inspection, and search. So basically, in a factory, they will come, or in an office, they will come. They will try to do an investigation. I mean, investigation is something that's done back end. inspection, they will come, they will check all your premises, they will check your accounts, they will check your records, they will check your reports that you've maintained, they will search for documents, they will search in your offices, and if they feel any goods that you have exported illegally, you are not supposed to export that into an SEZ zone. That time they will seize, they've got the right to seize that also. Now, there are designated courts that have been for this. So, if everything has been set up for, everything will have a particular court. So, for an SEZ unit, there is a designated court that has been assigned for a special economic zone cases only. So, the Chief Justice of High Court of that state, one or more courts to will be appointed for an SEZ unit. Now, what happens if the particular courts, if you're not happy with the result of the regular courts, then you can always appeal to the High Court. So, there is a right for the particular developer or entrepreneur, anybody, to if to appeal to a high court. Say if the designated courts tell you have to shut down the particular unit, you're running illegal activities, that time you can appeal to the high court for the particular what do you say, result. So if you're not happy with what the designated courts have given, you will have to appeal to the high court. So that is also possible. Just give me 1 minute. So then domestic clearance by units. So one second. Now, if you're taking any material, any say any goods, if you're removing it from a particular SEZ unit for domestic purposes, if you're giving if you are, what do you say, a part, if you've manufactured one part of a car and you're sending it outside to your other factory to manufacture the entire put that unit in the car, then you will be chargeable of duties of customs, any anti-dumping, countervailing, safeguarding duties under Customs Act, all that, wherever whatever is applicable, it will be applicable. Plus, there's one more example. Now you have exported certain items, say from you have exported certain items from the foreign country, and you are sending that particular item to your another unit which is in the non-SEZ unit. That time also, whatever customs rates are required, it will be applicable. Anybody's got any doubts?